Good day, everyone. Now we will talk about quadratic equation. So a quadratic equation in x is an equation that can be written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So where b and c are expressions that do not involve x, and a should not be equal to 0. Kasi if a will be equal to 0, what happens is that it will become a linear equation. So to solve a quadratic equation is to find the values of x that will satisfy the equation or that will make the equations come true. So the difference between quadratic equation and linear equation is simply linear equation is just purely, for example, x plus 2 equals 0 or yeah, something like that. So as long as it does not have it does not look like an equation like this, so it's a linear equation. So si quadratic equation naman po is an equation having a square here. So the form is ax squared. So for example, ax squared, no, plus bx plus c equals 0. So there are actually several ways of finding or solving quadratic equation. The first one is the pure quadratic equation. So the pure quadratic equation is the first degree term is missing, b equals 0. So therefore, the form is in terms of ax squared plus c equals 0. Actually, this one is easy because examples here are x squared equals 64. As you can see, that's x squared minus 64 equals 0. So b is missing. There's no b. Alright? So to solve the quadratic equation when b is equal to 0 is to first solve for x squared, then extract the square root of both sides of the equation. Remember, square root of a number is positive and negative. So always remember that because usually when we are asked about the square root of 64, automatically the student's answer is 8. It should be positive and negative 8. Okay? So for this example, we have x squared equals 64. So therefore, the two values of x is positive and negative 8. So square root of both sides according to what is being said here, that's x equals positive and negative 8. Okay, for number 2, that's 4x squared equals 100. So transpose to the right. So square root of both sides, or actually, there are two steps. You can square them automatically. So 2x equals 10. So divide both sides by 2. Your x is now 5. Or you can simply do this first. So x squared equals 25. So that is, okay, so I forgot to put positive and negative 10 here. Sorry. So that's why it's positive and negative 5. So here, square both sides. We have the same answer as positive and negative 5. Same goes with the other numbers, number 3 and number 4. Okay, so there you go. Here are some solutions of the answers from 1 and 2, and for 3 and 4. Alright, so for number 3, 3x squared is equal to 10. So you just transpose, and then again, if you are going to extract two roots of x, you have the two values, which is positive and negative. Therefore, this is our final answer. For number 4, as you can see, this is an imaginary number because again, the square root of a negative number is imaginary. So therefore, this is the square root of x squared is equal to positive negative square root of 9 over 25. So since this is negative, so you just put I sa gawas. So the square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 25 is 5. So since again that's negative, so you put I or imaginary. All right, number 2, solve quadratic equations by factoring. So we have already discussed factoring, right? So we can get two values of x when we factor. So make the procedure is to make the right side of the equation equal to 0. Factor the left side of the equation, equate both factors to 0, solve the resulting linear equations. Example. Okay, so earlier we have this one, right, as our uh, b is not equal to b is equal to 0. So therefore, we can solve it in factoring as well. So for this one, we can factor x squared minus 4 as x plus 2 and x minus 2. So therefore, that's x plus 2 equals 0. So you equate both factors to 0. So therefore, we can get the two values of x, which is x is equal to negative 2 and x is equal to positive 2. Why are we tackling this one? Because um, on your exam, you'll be asked to solve this using factoring. Solve or get the two values of x using this method. Alright, so it depends upon the specific method that the question will be asked to you. So for number 2, this one. Actually, for number 2, uh, we have already done, right, factoring lessons. So this can be done easily by the A, C, and B method. So after getting the A, C, and B method, we can easily discuss or we can easily get the two values of x. So therefore, that's x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0, right? So therefore, we get the two values of x as positive 5 and positive 3. Okay, so actually, how did we get this one? Again, we use factoring. Sige, so let's discuss na lang this one so that you can refresh also factoring. So AC and B. So AC here is 1 times 15, that's 15. And B here is negative 8. So what should we do? We should look for some factors that will, if we multiply it, we can get positive 15. And if we, uh, uh, yes, and if we add them, it will result to negative 8. So obviously, it can be the two factors would be negative 5 and negative 3, right? So therefore, negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. Negative 5 plus negative is negative 8. Therefore, you can have that as x squared minus 5x minus 3x plus 15 equals 0. So you can have this one as x times x minus 5 minus 3 times x minus 5. So therefore, you can have the factors as x minus 3 and x minus 5 equals 0. So just a refresh on how we get this value. For number 3, actually number 3, again, the rule in factoring is to equate or to let right as 0. So therefore, transpose si 10 going back to the left. Or going to the left rather. So therefore we have this. So once again, using the AC and B method, we can find the two values of x as negative 2/3 and positive 5. Alright, how about, sir, solve the equation by completing the square. So some of you may are not familiar with completing the square. So to solve a quadratic equation by completing a square, one must follow the procedure below. Number 1, transpose all constants on the right side of the equation and all items with x on the left side of the equation. Okay, then reduce the equation to the form x squared plus or x squared plus or minus mx is equal to n. So complete the square of the left side of the equation by adding to both sides of the equation with the term m over 2 then squared. So actually we can also say b over 2 or m over 2. So I will explain that one later. So write the left side of the equation as a perfect square, then extract the square root of both sides. Take note that the square root of any positive number leads to plus and minus, okay? A certain number. Again, square root of 64 is not 8, it's positive and negative 8. And solve the resulting equation. Example, number 1. By following the steps, we should do is x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Okay, step 1. X, according to the steps in or the procedure in completing the square, you should put the constant at the right side of the equation. So transpose negative 15 to the right. So therefore, the blanks here, sa man ang mga blanks? The blanks here are the katong mga b over 2 squared. Okay, so what is b? That's negative 8. Or m, what's m? That's negative 8 divided by 2, that's negative 4. And negative 4 squared is 16. This is also 16 here, right? Then afterwards, you're going to factor that out. That's obviously x minus 4 squared is equal to positive 1. Alright, then we square both sides. Square both sides. That's x minus 4 is equal to positive negative 1. X, the two values of x now are x minus 4 equals positive 1, and x minus 4 equals, x minus 4 equals negative 1. So therefore, x is equal to 1 plus 4, x equals positive 5, and the other one is x is equal to negative 1 plus 4, that's x is equal to positive 3. Same goes with number 2. For this problem, according to the procedure, one should not have a coefficient here. It should not have a constant. So therefore, you divide everything to 3 to eliminate that. So therefore, it's x squared minus 13 over 3x is equal to 10 over 3. Now we can start completing the square now. Plus blank is equal to 10 over 3 plus blank. A 13 over 3 divided by 2 then squared is 169 over 36. And here as well is 169 over 36. So therefore, if you factor that out, anong gagawin po natin? It's just, if minus po yan dito, minus din yan. Tapos, square root nito is 13 over 6. Then square is equal to 10 over 3 plus 169 over 36. So this is 289 over 36. Square both sides. So ang matitira is x minus 13 over 6 is equal to positive and negative. Square root of answer is negative positive 17 over 6. Okay, so therefore you can get the values of x as x equals positive 17 over 6 plus 13 over 6. Sorry, hold on. Plus 13 over 6. And the other one is x equals negative 17 over 6 plus 13 over 6. Therefore, your first x is 30 over 6 or Let's use our calculator na lang. For sure, it's 5. And the other one is negative 17 over 6, 4 over 6. So that's 2/3, I think. Yes, negative 2/3 rather. So therefore, this is our final, or these two are our final answers. So we can verify that one to our next slide, which has the answer. Yes, number 1 is correct. And yes, number 2 is also correct. Oh, okay. So nagkamali po dito. That's negative 2/3 and positive 5. Now for number 4. Solve quadratic equation by quadratic formula. So in this slide, we actually derived the quadratic formula. With the form ax squared plus bx plus c, okay, and using completing the square, we have derived this formula. Okay, these are the step-by-step process. If you want to study that one, it's up to you, but it's not really important. So to solve a quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula, write equation first in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 and identify the value of a, b, and c. And substitute them all in the quadratic formula. So again, by using the quadratic formula, x is equal to negative b. Okay, so for number 1, our a is 2, b is 5, and remember c is negative 4. Because the form should be 2x squared plus 5x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, then substitute these values here. You will get the values or the roots of the quadratic equation. Same as here. So here our value of a is 3, value of b is negative 6, value of c is negative 2. Substitute those values here, and then you can get the 2 roots of x as this one. So you can use it, for example, the instruction is to use the decimal form, that's fine. If the instruction is use the fractional form or the rational form, that's also fine. So guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to message me on LMS, and thank you guys for listening and have a great day. Bye bye.